Did you know that in general, homeowners with a higher interest rate will normally pay more money towards the interest than towards the principal for a longer period of time than those with a lower interest rate? Okay, so what the hell did I just said? Well, let me explain to you. Rather than me just sitting here talking, I'm about to show you guys data with numbers and the statistics so you guys can see what is really happening in the housing market so you can determine whether or not this is the right time to buy or if you should wait for the so-called bubble to burst. Let's get right into it.
Okay guys, so in the next few slides, we're gonna talk about three different things. And that is gonna be, we're gonna talk about unemployment rate, we're gonna talk about interest rates and how they affect your mortgage. And third, we're gonna talk about the so-called bubble. And I'm gonna try to help you guys to figure out if this is actually something that is going to happen. So this first graphic that we're looking at is actually from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it is dated from April 2020. And as you guys can see, the unemployment rate was as high as 14.8%. So moving on onto our next slide, what I'm about to show you guys is what happened with the housing market when the quarantine started and we were forced to stay at home, and there were a lot of people that lost their jobs and people just were afraid to buy in. So as you guys can see, we had from October 19, November, December, January, February, March, and when business shut down on April, look at how drastic the drop was. It was all the way down to -2%, and then, but this was because the interest rates were still steady according to January, February, and March. By May, there was still no change, but then what the banks actually did, they started dropping the interest rates. And in June, we started seeing a little bit of a progress because people, even though they still kind of feared that things weren't right with the economy and the coronavirus, they started gaining a little more confidence, and they thought it would be a good opportunity to buy when the interest rates dropped. And as you guys can see, little by little, people started buying in July, August, all the way from October, November, December, January. What this part of the graphic right here shows is that, okay, we started to see that the coronavirus and the pandemic was getting a little better. By 2021, when people started getting their vaccine, people started gaining full confidence that we were pretty much over the pandemic. So by May 2021, you guys can see how hot the market became, and people were buying and selling houses like crazy, and it hit all the way to a 53% growth compared to what we had on March 2020. Okay, so now you guys might ask yourselves, okay, Carlos, but why do we care so much if the interest rate drop only from 5% to 4% to 3 or 2.5% or low 2%? Well, in this image right here, you guys can take a look of how big the impact can be if the interest rate dropped from 5% to 4% and 3%. Right here we have a mortgage for $200,000, and it showed you guys the dollar amount that you will end up paying at the end of your loan term. And as you guys can see, the difference is massive. With the 3% interest rate, we would only have to pay just a little bit above $100,000. If you compare it to the interest rate of 5%, you will be paying closer to $200,000. So again, this is massive. It will be $186,000. So by this point, your head might be spinning a little bit, trying to draw your own conclusions to figure out if the bubble is actually happening or if it's not going to happen. So on this next image, what I'm about to show you guys is the current unemployment rate that we have by the end of August 2021 at 5.2%. So what is that? What does this graphic tell you? If you guys pay attention, people that are waiting for the bubble to happen, what my company keeps concluding is that we really don't understand where they're getting that information from, because as you guys can see, the numbers are telling us something completely different. This graphic right here is telling us like, hey, things are definitely much better since the pandemic hit in 2020 when all the business closed and people are starting to get their jobs back again. Okay, and now we're actually gonna have another image that is gonna make you guys think just a little bit more, because I want you guys to give me a hard time talking about this. So you might say, oh, Carlos, but what happens if your predictions are actually wrong and the bubble actually happens? Okay, so if you guys look at 2009, when the market actually crashed, the interest rates went up to 5.4%. So if we go back to the other image that we had, and we compare having a mortgage from 3% to 5%, you guys will be able to see that the interest rate and the home value is going to be very similar and kind of relevant to each other. You know, one of the things that I would love people to understand is that nobody can control or nobody can predict the housing market. And people that want to wait for the interest rates to drop or the home values to drop or the quote unquote the best time to buy, well, guess what? The banks are not going to be kind towards you, and every single time that the housing market either gets better or get worse, if they see that they have an opportunity to make money off of you, they are going to do it.
To conclude this video, every Monday I have a company team meeting, and the number one conclusion that we always have at the end of it is that right now is actually one of the best opportunities to buy since the recession in 2008. I have gathered this information and I have shared it with you, and my hope is that it will help you make a better educated decision to determine if this is the right time for you to buy. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend who might benefit from it. Subscribe to my channel, and if you have any further questions, drop it on the comments or feel free to reach out to me by text, email, or call. I am happy to help. My name is Carlos Mendoza, and I am a realtor in the San Francisco Bay Area. I will see you on the next video.